Are there any ministerial statements? I call the Honourable the Premier.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022 is a date few of us will forget. That night, heavy rain began falling between Gympie and the Sunshine Coast. As we know, it just didn't stop. Two-thirds of our annual rainfall fell in just a matter of days, monsoonal, torrential, unrelenting rain. 7 cities and 23 local council areas were affected. They included Maryborough, Gympie, the Gold and Sunshine Coast, as well as the Darling Downs. In 6 days, 792.8 millimetres of rain fell in Brisbane alone, 137 millimetres more than in 1974. This is the highest 6-day figure ever recorded. A further 56 locations received more than 1,000 millimetres. 13 people lost their lives, including SES volunteer Meryl Dray, who died during trying to save others. Mr Speaker, that is what happened to us a year ago, but it is how this state responded that shows the strength and resilience that makes us proud to call ourselves Queenslanders. Mr Speaker, Queensland has more heroes than it can count. As the water rose, neighbours turned lifesavers. I met Paul Edwards, who was saved from his home in Ashgrove. Paul, his wife and 3 neighbours suddenly found their houses surrounded by raging torrents like rapids in the middle of a river. A swiftwater rescue team pulled them through windows and off their roofs and saved their lives. Mr Speaker, I'm pleased to inform the House that the efforts of those involved will be formally recognised at an awards ceremony next month. There are no words to express the respect, admiration and gratitude we owe to our first responders, police, fireys and paramedics. State Emergency Service volunteers, and I stress these are volunteers, answered 13,685 calls for help, all of them heroes. As part of our flood response, the Department of Communities and Housing established 23 community recovery hubs directly in the neighbourhoods worst affected by the floods. More than $35.8 million in personal hardship assistance for food, clothing and other essentials was provided to more than 111,000 people in need. 7,888 grants of up to $75,000 for primary producers, up to $50,000 for affected small businesses and not-for-profit organisations valued at more than $127 million will also be approved. This was, by any measure, one of the most widespread disasters our state has ever seen. No one seeks praise for doing what they have to do to help each other out. But, Mr Speaker, I believe some deserve special mention. The Queensland Reconstruction Authority, led by Major General Jake Elwood, former CEO Brendan Moon and the Deputy Premier Stephen Miles have done an extraordinary job. The $741 million Resilient Homes Fund, the first in Australia of its size and scale, has so far identified 540 properties for voluntary home buyback. 365 offers have been presented and 230 have been accepted. It means these homeowners will never again feel the fear of hearing rain on their roof. Their properties will be demolished and the land returned to open space. That is in addition to those being built back better, either raised or provided with other improvements to make them more flood resilient. And I want to thank the federal government for partnering us with this fund. I would also like to make special mention of Minister Glenn Butcher and the operators of Wivenhoe Dam. As the Inspector-General of Emergency Management found, Wivenhoe did what it was supposed to do and held back the equivalent of 4 Sydney harbours worth of water. The same weather system that caused our floods moved on to Lismore and Sydney. Many people still suffer from its effects. But a year later, it is the strength of Queensland that shines through, as it always will. Mr Speaker, last night Parliament passed the Domestic and Family Violence Protection, Combating Coercive Control and Other Legislation Amendment Bill. This is an important step in our continued efforts to tackle the scourge of domestic, family and sexual violence, and in particular coercive control. And I want to thank the Attorney-General and the Cabinet and the Government, but also I want to also make special mention of Sue and Lloyd Clark that were here this morning as well. They are tremendous advocates, and we owe them a huge debt for the work that they continue to do. Mr Speaker, we're committed to introducing an offence later in the year, and work is underway to set the groundwork for that. Mr Speaker, I have some great news for regional Queensland. I am pleased to advise the House— just wait. I'm pleased to advise the House that our government will deliver the 117-kilometre Fitzroy to Gladstone pipeline to deliver water security and even more jobs in central Queensland. The pipeline will create—
Order. Order. Premier, you have the call.
The pipeline will create new construction jobs, protect—
Member for Nanango, please cease your interjections.
The pipeline will create new construction jobs, protecting existing jobs, and support new jobs in new industries. Mr Speaker, nearly $1 billion will be invested supporting around 430 local construction jobs. Let me say that again, $1 billion, Mr Speaker. The pipeline will deliver water security to Gladstone to protect thousands of existing jobs in manufacturing and heavy industry. And the pipeline will provide— Mr Speaker, I don't know why the member for Nanango is against this $1 billion investment in regional Queensland. And the pipeline will provide the water needed to support new jobs in renewable hydrogen and manufacturing. And to make renewable hydrogen, we need water alongside renewable energy. That's why this pipe—
Member for Nanango, off to an early start. You want understanding orders.
That's why this pipeline is so important for the future of Gladstone. Major new investment projects in central Queensland that need access to water include the Fortescue Future Industries hydrogen electrolyser manufacturing facility, Mitsubishi Gas proposal for a green methanol plant, the Stanwell-Iwatani Central Queensland hydrogen plant, Orica and H2U's proposed green ammonia plant, and Rio Tinto and Sumitomo's proposed hydrogen plant. These projects have the potential to support thousands of new jobs in central Queensland. The Fitzroy to Gladstone pipeline is expected to be completed in 2026 with an expected capacity of 30 gigalitres of water per annum. The Water Minister and member for Gladstone will tell you more about these critical projects soon. Mr Speaker, we are able to deliver water security with this pipeline because our government backed Rookwood Weir and secured federal funding. The $367 million Rookwood Weir project has already supported 170 jobs, the biggest weir built since the Second World War. Our government will continue to deliver water infrastructure for regional Queensland because that means good, secure jobs. Mr Speaker, more good news. From the 26th to the 29th of June this year, the World Mining Congress will be held in Australia for the first time right here in Brisbane, Queensland. The World Mining Congress is an opportunity to showcase Queensland to the world. The Congress is expected to take over the Convention Centre and bring over 3,000 delegates, including 200+ CEOs from 50 countries to our shores. This is the first time the Congress will be held in Australia in its 65-year history. Mr Speaker, Queensland has long been the world's largest seaborne exporter of steel-making metallurgical coal, a state that prides itself on its long mining history that has underpinned our state's economic development and our prosperity, and a state that prides itself on a mining future, providing the resources needed for the clean energy industrial revolution. That includes ongoing demand for steel-making coal to make wind turbines and electric vehicles, as well as critical minerals. Queensland has the copper and bauxite needed for power lines, the vanadium to make grid batteries to store renewable energy, the high-purity alumina to make battery separators and graphite to make anodes for the lithium batteries, the cobalt and access to nickel in lithium-ion batteries, and the zinc needed for batteries and wind turbines. Not only do we have all of these resources below the ground, but Queensland has the world-leading sunshine and wind energy above the ground to make renewables and renewable energy. And Queensland has some of the best scientists and research in the world right here to make it all happen. I don't just want to see Queensland become a major global supplier of vanadium. I want to see flow batteries made here as well on our shores. For Queensland to become a global supplier of the materials used in lithium batteries, and for Queensland to mine and process the minerals to manufacture more renewables here in Queensland. The World Mining Congress will shine a light on Queensland and open the investment opportunities to make this happen, and I thank the Minister for Resources for helping to sell Queensland and this conference on a recent trade mission. Well done, Minister. And finally, Mr Speaker, today is a special day in our state's history. It's Mount Isa Day, with the great city celebrating its 100th anniversary. And, Mr Speaker, I'm advised it's going to be quite a celebration, with morning tea at the Civic Centre and a day and evening of community entertainment. Mr Speaker, Mount Isa has a rich and vibrant history, and I'm sure it has an exciting and even richer future. Today we acknowledge and reflect on its first 100 years, and I know this House will join me in wishing Mount Isa and its people a very happy birthday.